Right then, lads, he's about done. The rebuild of Korvold, Faker's King. So, let's just talk about him. So, he's a Dragon Noble for 2, black, green, red, 4 flyer. But when he comes to play, he instantly becomes a 5/5, because when he comes to play, I have to sacrifice something else. And when I sacrifice something else, he gets a plus and plus again when I draw a card. I get to do the same thing when he attacks. Wait, there's some crap on the screen. Let's get that off. There we go. Okay. Now I can see better. Alright. So, the first build of Korvold that I had was a typical bullshit token sacrifice combo. And it actually was not fun to play. It worked. It worked really well, but it was kind of boring. It wasn't that fun. It's just look, I've got this combo sacrifice value engine. Yay. And I just dominated the game. Fantastic. Not that I want to lose. So I took them apart, put them back in the art binder, kept thinking about them. And meanwhile, I built Saskia to be my token combo value engine. And she does a pretty damn good job. But then I kept thinking, I don't have a Jund deck. I want a Jund deck. And I've got Korvold, so what else can I do with him? And then I got the idea, and I knew what to do with him. So let me start with the mana base. So Bajika Bog, yeah, easy. Comes to play, give her to somebody's graveyard. Cabal Coffers, of course there's an Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth in here. Command Tower, low-hanging fruit for sure. I've got all 3 of these. These comes to play tapped and says unless I have the land of the appropriate land type, so Dragon Skull Summit, Woodland Cemetery, and what's the black? No, the red-green one. Red-green one is... I'll get to it. Fuck it. All 3 of these too. Carplucent Forest. So if I need the colored mana, it's going to hurt me. If I don't need the colored mana, it'll be just fine. Keep. So Korvold, because I have to sacrifice something when he comes into play, and then when he attacks, I need ways of making permanents I don't give a shit about. And a little 0-1 Kobold. Yeah, sorry, little 0-1 Kobold. But Daddy doesn't love you. And he's going to feed you to a dragon. Num num. Lenora Waste. Yep, one of the other Painlands. Overgrown Tomb. I don't have all 3 of these. I'm missing Blood Crypt, and I'm missing Bloodstained Mire. Next month, if I get my bonus, I expect to get them. For now, I'm just building the deck as quickly as possible. I do have some cards on order. This is an early look because I don't have all the cards yet. I'm missing about 8 cards. Some of them are on order. I'll take some cards and trade them to my LGS to get them. But when I play him on Thursday, he'll be missing the Bloodstained Mire and Blood Crypt, which I don't expect to be that bad, but he won't feel done until I have them. That's just the way my mind works. If I don't have the full cycle of lands, for example, Saskia has 2 of the 6 dual lands she can have, so she doesn't feel done. But then we're talking about 300 euros each for the 4, so 1,200. We're talking about 1,200 euros. So Saskia cannot feel done for a little while if it costs me 1,200 euros to make her feel like she's done, But Reliquary Tower should be drawing a lot of cards. If the deck works, if it works the way I expect it to, at some point I will be drawing a lot of cards. I will have more than 17 on my turn, and I don't want to discard, so this will help me stave that off. There it is, Rootbound Crag, the green-red checkland, I guess we're calling it. Savage Lands. The deck really could use a Zeotor's Proving Ground. The problem is, the 2 Zeotor's Proving Ground that are available, one of them is a fucking warehouse with a boxing ring in it. And the other one is some abstract, doesn't look like a land at all. I mean, just go look up Zeotor's Proving Ground and look at the available arts. It doesn't look like a fucking mountain, forest, or swamp. Neither one of them. And I don't feel like playing a land that looks like a goddamn warehouse, no matter how good it is. It doesn't fit. Stomping Ground, there we go. Sulphur Springs, the other Painland. 10th edition, because I have 10th edition available, signed, which is nice. I don't remember where I got this, but I've had it for a while. Had it for a long time. Glaciers in Degel. Thawing Glaciers. So yes, the deck does have burgeoning. As any of you who have been listening for a while know, one of my favorite combos is burgeoning and thawing glaciers. So this comes into play tapped. You spend one and you tap it. You go find a basic land and that fucking thing comes into play tapped. And then at the end of the turn you bounce this back to your hand. So you can play it again tapped. So it's slow. If you have burgeoning though, if you bounce this back to your hand at the end of the turn, if your opponent plays a land, one of your opponents plays a land on their turns, and you can play this, it comes to play taps, on your turn it untaps. I should put Voyaging Cedar in this deck. Right now I'm at 99. I'll post the deck list. And right now I'm at 99. So if I put Voyaging Cedar allows me to untap a land. So I could get 2 uses out of Thawing Glaciers if I have Voyaging Cedar in play. Something I need to think about. I'm not sure what that 99th or that 100th slot is going to be. But thinking about it, Voyaging Cedar would be solid. And you'll see why once you get to the rest of the deck. The deck lives at 6 mana. Urborg, Tomb d'Agzu. All the French cards came from the recent deconstruction of Carador. Verdant Catacombs, as I said, I'm missing the Blessing Mire. Fortress de Volrath Stronghold, gives me colors, or put a creature on top of your library from your graveyard. So if your opponent's trying to exile your graveyard, you can save one of your creatures you don't want to get exiled. Or, if you just want it back, like, oh, I don't know, Kokusho, the Evening Star. Kokusho, the Evening Star sounds like something I would want to get back pretty often. You have Volrath Stronghold, lets me do that. Wood of the Foothills, there's Fetch Land, there's the Woodland Cemetery. Cuvette de la Yavimaya, Terrain Legendary. So, Yavimaya Hollows. Spend 1 green, tap, regenerate target creature. Yeah, again, all the French cards came out of the deconstruction of Carador, which, so, kind of sad about, because I had it for so long. It just quit working. It was like an old dog, an old friend that just cancer riddled, can't get up anymore, can't do his job. So it's time to put Carador out to pasture. So I did. Lands I chose for Korvold, I should have Eldraine lands, but I don't have any extra. So I chose these Odyssey Swamps, Ice Age Forests, and Ice Age Mountains. I think they fit him okay. I think they look alright. So anyway, that's the mana base. Let's get to the real meat of the deck, right? It's really what you want to see. Arcane Signet. Okay, yeah, that's basic. Who cares? Basilisk Collar. Equip creatures destined. This is for the Inferno Titan. So if I have Inferno Titan and I equip this to him when he attacks, I get 3 separate 1 points of damage. If Inferno Titan has Death Touch and he gets to 1 point of damage to something, 4 blockers are even declared, that's 3 things I can kill. Tack, 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 die, die, die. Chromatic Lantern, yeah, pretty basic. 3-color deck, fixes my mana, acts as a mana rock in and of itself. Expedition Map, got this out of a starter collection of foundations I opened, which pissed me off because out of the 300 cards, roughly 96 of them were terribly miscut. Well, 30 of them were horribly miscut. 30 of them were very noticeably miscut. And then another 30 were miscut noticeably, but not as bad, like revised level of miscut. And I still didn't like it, so I complained to Wizards, and they said they're going to send me another one. They fucking better do it. It's been 2 months now. Fucking Wizards. Glittering Stockpile. This is a mana rock I've not played with before. I was watching, I'm pretty sure it was Trinket Mage. Trinket Mage was talking about mana rocks, cheap mana rocks you should play. So he mentioned Glittering Stockpile. And I looked at it and I thought, that's pretty cool. And I looked it up on Tyranny Prestige, and they were cheap for foils. Foils are cheap. So I ordered 2. So I'm sticking one to the Korvold. So what does it do for me? 2 in a red. Tap. Put a red on it. Or get a red. Put a stash counter on it. And then I can tap it and add X amount of any one color, where X is the number of stash counters and Glittering Stockpile. So I'm not sure how well this is going to be, but the sacrifice thing. So whenever you sacrifice permanent, he gets a +1/+1 counter, draw a card. So the sacrifice itself. One thing with this build of Korvold is there's a main theme. And once I start getting that theme, I will explain it more carefully. But he's got a light token theme, just enough to give him things to eat. It has a light deal damage theme, mainly through Mayhem Devil and the other dude. I'll remember the other dude when I get to him. So I still have a Mayhem Devil in the deck. Mayhem Devil, I'll explain when I get to it. I won't keep you. Soul Ring, yeah, everybody knows what fucking Soul Ring does. If Mana Crypt is banned, and Grim Monolith is on the soft ban list, it's a game changer, and Mox Diamond is a game. What about Soul Ring? Oh, well, Soul Ring is not banned or touched or anything because it's Soul Ring. Wizard's own words, because it's Soul Ring. Funny thing about that. So, this deck, as it is, just going by the cards in it, it is a bracket 1 deck. Bracket 1. 1. Not 2, not 3, 1. My ass. And that's because it's really, as I explained before in my Kestia video, it's really goddamn hard to go through all the cards to have some program, and it'll say, well, you've got these 2 cards in your deck, and you put them together, that's going to be fucked up for your opponents and cause you to run away with the game. It's really hard to know. For example, Shroom. Shroom has Nevinyrral's Disc and Darksteel Forge. If I take out a couple of cards from Shroom, she drops from bracket 3 to bracket 1. If I get Nevinyrral's Disc and Darksteel Forge in play, and I have done that before, she is not level 1. Because I can destroy everything that isn't mine every turn. Tell me that's not a game changer. But again, it's really hard. And there's been some discussions on some of the other videos where I've been talking about this with some of you lads, where we've discussed the difficulty in putting all these together, to putting all the combos together, to seeing how the deck interacts as a whole. It's really hard, I admit that. But since there's a couple of nerds that play, I don't know if any of you have noticed, but Magic the Gathering, it tends to attract a certain kind of player, a certain kind of person. And some of those people are really good in IT. And some of those people are really good in databases. So I'm sure some of those people are figuring out a way to more accurately specify what sort of bracket a deck is in. I guarantee some bright lads are working on that. It's just a matter of when they will announce it to us and how they'll do it, what they'll come up with. So anyway, officially, Korvold is a bracket 1. In reality, no, all my decks are bracket 3. I'm trying to win. I play some funny cards, but I'm not trying to be a dick about it. Sometimes I am with Shroom, but if my opponents can see it coming, they should know. If at turn 8, if the first 7 turns I am pretty much exposed, I don't have any real threats, and I'm playing a bunch of artifacts that are one of the easiest permanent type to destroy, and my opponents are not dealing with me, they kind of deserve it if I play Darksteel Forge and Neverwinter Disc on turn 8. Because we're all playing at the same level. They all know me. They all know my decks. I know theirs. Anyway, Reaver Cleaver. 2 in red. This deck is pretty equipment light. I think this and Basilisk Call are the only equipment I have. So 2 in red. Legendary artifact. So equipped creature gets +1/+1 trample, and whenever it smacks somebody, create that many treasure tokens for the damage I deal. Equip 3. So if I attack with a 6/6 trampler and they block with a 3/3 whatever, just to soak up some of the damage, I get 3 treasures. 3 things that Korvold can eat. He'll eat anything. This motherfucker, he'll eat lands, he'll eat creatures, he'll eat enchantments. He'll eat your mother-in-law. He'll eat anything. He's a greedy bastard. 0 orb, sacrifice land, you gain 2 life. Got a combo with this. Also, well, I'll go into it later. Anzac, the Quake Kiwi. So Anzac here, I got this for the original build of Shroom, and when it didn't work, decided he's going to be infinite attacks. That's Korvold's theme. I just remembered I didn't specify his new theme. His new theme is infinite attacks. Kind of. So 2 green-red for an 8/4. Fucking 4 mana for an 8/4 Mogod. Whenever he becomes blocked, untap every creature control, and then you get another combat phase after this combat phase. So 7, 3, double red, double green. He has to be blocked each combat. So I only have to pay that once. I pay that once, and he has to be blocked every combat I enter into from then on. So I pay 7 mana, attack, he has to be blocked. If he survives, then I get to untap everything and attack again, and he has to be blocked again by whatever's left. Sometimes there won't be anything left. Sometimes it'll just be 1 attack. But I'm curious to see how it works out. Blazing, so, like I said, I like playing funny cards in my deck. Blazing Effigy is a funny card in Korvold. Nobody sees it coming. Nobody expects him. I guarantee that a few of you listening to this and watching this now are, the fuck is a Blazing Effigy? It's a 2 mana 0/3. 2 mana 0/3? Okay, so when it dies, you get to lightning bolt something? That sounds kind of useless. Especially so, if he does his damage to another effigy, and these are the only effigies, they've not printed any other effigies in the game over the last 30 years that I know of. None. So these are the only effigies. Now if I return to it, then he can do his 3 damage to some other kind of effigy, and then that would deal more damage. But anyway, I'm just putting in him as an early creature. He's funny, I own one. And if I sacrifice him with Korvold, I get to lightning bolt something. I like it. You don't have to like it. Bone Shredder. 2 and a black for a 1/1 flying with Echo. Beginning of your upkeep. If this came into play, sacrifice it, unless you pay its Echo cost. When you sacrifice permanent, put a +1. Yeah, sounds like they will work together nicely. And whenever Bone Shredder comes into play, I get to terrorize something. Cost a Caterpillar. Sacrifices itself for the low cost of 1 and a green, and I get to kill an artifact or enchantment. Creekwood Liege, there are more efficient ways to do this. If I put in, what is she called? She costs 5. 4 and a green. She is 2/2, just like this guy. And every turn I get a creature. Every turn I get a sapling token. So that would be better because I would get a token every turn. And if I have the city's blessing, if she ascends, then she gives all saplings +2/+2. So I'm pumping out a 3/3 each turn. This guy, I forgot one on hand. So I might as well employ him. So he costs 4 instead of 5. The mana requirement is tighter. You know, he requires 3 black or 3 green. The Tender Sheet Dryad only costs 4 and 1 green, 4 colorless. But he pumps up my black creatures, pumps up my green creatures. But he only gives me a token on my turn. It is a black and green token, so he is already spitting out 3/3s, but only once a turn on my turn. In any case, if he's in play and Korva is in play, Korva is a 7/7. Because he would be at 5/5 when he comes into play because I'd have to sacrifice something. And this guy says, you're black and green. Have a +2/+2. So he'd be a 7/7 flyer. Nasty. Douthie Slayer. He's in here. I'll just skip to it. I'll show you why he's in here. Skip to the enchantments. So, in the deck I have Nature's Will. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to player, tap all lands that player controls and tap all lands you control. It's part of the infinite attack combo. Because I also have Aggravated Assault. So I will need the mana in order to activate Aggravated Assault. That's the route I'm going. So Anzac I only need to pay for once. Aggravated Assault I need to pay for every time. And the idea is I just keep attacking. So anyway, the reason this guy's in here is to get through. So if I have Nature's Will and my opponents have blockers, I need something that is almost guaranteed to get through in order for me to untap all my lands so I have the mana to pay for Aggravated Assault. So double black, 2/2, Shadow. He attacks every turn if able. But since nobody else really plays Shadow creatures, he's essentially unblockable. And he's so cool. I mean, he's been sitting in my art binder for 10 years. At least 10 years I've had this guy. I never put him in a deck. I just got him from the memories. Got him because I used to like playing him back when I was playing Extended. And then the real world quote I like, a wisp of life remains in the undergloom of death. A visible form, though no heart beats within it. Neat. Deathray Shaman, Mana Dork. I can exile some shit. So if a creature is going to bother me, I can exile them, gain some life. Yeah. Elder Gagaroth. So Elder Gagaroth. Look at it. 5 for a 6/6 Vigilant Reach Trample. And you know what the funniest thing about that is? I mean the raw power. 5 for a 6/6. The Vigilance Reach Trample. And when he attacks or blocks, one of 3 abilities. Either you get another creature, or you get 3 life, or you get to draw a card. So he can draw cards in green. But nobody plays him. Do you know, he doesn't go anywhere. I had to kind of force myself to put him into Korvold because I want big creatures. I want something I want to attack with. And I had to think, do I really want this guy or do I want something with more synergy? And he's a fucking 6/6 Vigilance Reach Trample with 3 relative good abilities for 5 mana. Power creep is a bitch. Endrick Sar, Master Breeder. So this little bastard. 4 and a black for a 2/2 human wizard. Whenever you cast a creature spell, create that many X 1/1 black throw creature tokens, where X is that spell's mana value. But if you have 7 or more thralls, he dies. They kill him. They don't like him. He was doing nasty things to them. He's kind of like the Harvey Weinstein of Thralls, and they don't like it. So they went Me Too and tore his ass up. So, well, actually, the order executed him for critting combat Thralls. They found out that was not a good idea, not at all. So anyway, he's here as another part of the light token suite, a way of making things that I can feed to Korva. Eternal Witness, she comes into play, I get to bring something back, I get regrowth, yeah, pretty basic. Fiend Artisan, black or green for a 1/1. Although he gets +1/+1 on each creature card in my graveyard. Until somebody fucking hits me in the Bajuka Bog and then I've got no creature in my graveyard. But, X, green-black, tap, sacrifice another creature. Go find a creature card of CMC X or less, throw it into play, then shuffle. Only as a sorcery. So he's here as a way of finding my key creatures. Grave Titan! 4 black, 6/6 yeah. He comes into play, he brings in 2 little 2/2 buddies, which, again, creatures I don't care about, so Korva can eat them. When he attacks, he makes little 2/2 zombies, so Korva can eat them. I mean, if Korva is eating the shit falling off this guy, he's a nasty bastard. I wouldn't eat that. No way. Havoc Demon. This is in the original build of Korvold. I bought it foil for him. It was actually not that. It was only about 10 euros. Havoc Demon, even though he's an Onslaught foil, Legions, he's really not worth that much. And, I mean, he costs 7, 5/5 flyer. When he dies, all creatures get -5 until end turn. So if I attack with Korva, and Korva is bigger than 5, and everything else, or the things I care about are bigger than yeah, sacrifice this guy, and wipe a significant portion of the board off the table. There it is, Hell Rider. To be honest, I don't... When I play him, when I play the deck this Thursday, I'll find out if this guy's good. I don't know if he's going to be good. So 2 red for 3/3 Hasting Devil. Whenever creature I control attacks, he deals 1 damage to a defending player. In this build, I'm going for more quality over quantity. So I expect I will have a few big creatures as opposed to a grip of smaller creatures. So if I'm not going wide, he's really not going to hurt my opponents that much. So this is one of the cards I'm already thinking about cutting. This is one of the cards that could drop for something more relevant to the deck. Inferno Titan! 4 red. There he is. He's got fire breathing, but I almost never care about that. What I care about is when he comes into play or attacks, I get 3 little 1 points of damage. And if he's got Basilisk Collar, when he attacks, he gets to kill 3 creatures that could possibly block. Haha. Die, bitches. 0. 1 Vuli Recluse. You're probably thinking, well, why do you... This is not a good card. No, it's not. But in this deck, it should be. So she comes down early. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create a 2/2 kitty cat. So when he attacks, I will draw my second card and I'll get a kitty cat. And maybe he'll want to eat the kitty cat. Plus also, she does this. 4 green till end turn, creatures control a base power until XX, where that's number of cards in my hand. So if I have 6 cards in my hand, and I trigger and I send Havoc Demon to the graveyard, and all my creatures get -5, but I can make their base power 6/6, then that's a one-sided board wipe. I keep my creatures, and my opponents will lose a lot of theirs. So I expect her to work out okay in this deck. Plus, since a lot of the more interesting cards cost a lot of mana, I need some early creatures, and she should give me that. I should put in other ways of drawing cards besides Korvold, though. To to really take advantage of her. Anyway, Kagamaru, first to suffer. He became available when I broke up Korvold. 3 black. His power toughness equal to the number of cards in my hand. Just 1 black. Sacrifice him. All creatures get neg X till end of turn with that number of cards in my hand. So he doesn't really work with Joro, because if I give one of my creatures base power toughness XX or that number of cards in my hand, and then I trigger him where he kills everything with the number of cards in my hand or less. Yeah, but anyway, I think he'll work out fine. I'll see how it goes. This is, like I said, the first look, the first iteration of the Korvold Keep Attacking deck. Yamama of the East Tree. So Yamama here, 4 green for a 6/6 legendary Reaching Spirit. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under control, if it was not put into play with this ability, you may put a permanent card with equal or lesser CMC from hand on it. So basically, if I get something into play, no matter how I get it into play, if he didn't do it, he lets me play more stuff from my hand. And if I'm drawing cards with Korvold, that can get really good really fast. Kokusho, the Evening Star. 4 black for a 5/5 legendary Flying Dragon Spirit. And when she dies, I gain everybody loses 5 life but me. And I gain that much life. None of this, everybody loses 5 life and you gain 5 life. None of that bullshit. No. If they collectively lose 15, I gain 15. Sweet. Kolrath Knight. 3 black-red hybrid, double black-red hybrid. 3/3 flyer. Yeah, he's got Wither. I don't care. What I care about is creatures my opponents control with counters on them cannot, no matter what kind of counters. If it's a death touch counter, flying counter, I eat 29 tacos and I got this special reward counter, +1/+1, neg1, whatever. They can't attack or block. Which could work to my advantage. And it surprises people. There he is, Mayhem Devil, yeah, this fucker. So 1 black-red, 3/3 devil. Whenever a player sacrifices a permanent, he deals 1 damage to any target. I could put Maha in this deck. I could put Haha, its feathers laugh in this deck. But Cube and I have an understanding that neither one of us are going to play our Ha-Has against each other. If I did put Haha in this deck, Infernal Titan gets that much better, and this guy gets better too. Because if all my opponent's creatures have base toughness of 1, if anybody sacrifices anything, somebody sacrifices a treasure, somebody sacrifices a clue, a food, anything, he deals damage. So I thought it worthwhile to keep him in there. Marin of Clan Telnoth. Whenever another creature control dies, you get an experience counter. Beginning of your end step, choose target creature in your graveyard. If its card CMC is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you have, bring it back into play. Otherwise, put it in your hand. The deck has a lot of ways of sacrifice the Korvold. If I'm just sacrificing tokens, that's still, they go to the graveyard, but they don't stay there. So I still get an experience counter. And if I can bring, even if I bring back just a Secure Tribe Elder every turn, that's an extra land every turn. And then if I sacrifice him, I get more experience counter. So I think she's going to work on this deck. What I'm trying not to do, my tendency is when I build decks like this, my tendency is to go into too much of a control player mode, into too much of a playing out of the graveyard and playing tricks. I'm trying not to do that. It's very difficult for me because of the way I naturally want to build my decks, but I'm trying that. And she is a nod to that tendency, although I think it's going to work out. I don't think it's going to be too much. I'll find out when I play her. Speaking of that, we go from her right into Mikaeus the Unhallowed. 3 triple black, 5/5 intimidating zombie cleric. Whenever a human deals damage, you destroy it. That's only worked once. Only once. And it was beautiful. I was playing Hirobi, and Cube was playing Grisham Starn. I had Micaeus in play, and Cube did some bullshit where all of us took a point of damage, and Grayson Starn said, "Ha, you took a point of damage, you suckers, take 2 more. Fuck off." And Micaeus said, "Hey, that little human bastard just hurt you, boss. I'm gonna kill him." And Micaeus killed him. And Cube was like, "Oh, I kind of saw that coming, but it's Grayson Starn's static ability, so I couldn't do anything about it." I was like, "Micaeus, you finally killed a human that hurt me. I love you." Other non-human creatures control get +1/+1 on Heaven Dying. I don't have that many humans in the deck. I have a number of them. But everything else gets bigger and will come back out of the graveyard if they die. Nikata Warpride. Now here's where we're getting into some of the more interesting infinite attack card. So you saw Anzac the Quake Mole. This guy, so he costs a lot, 3 triple green, and he's only a 3/3, but he must be blocked by exactly 1 creature Fable. And whenever he attacks, I put X tokens to play tapped and attacking that are copies of him, where X is number. So even if my opponent, even if somebody I'm attacking has some tapped creatures, he still looks at the whole number of creatures, and let's say they have 6 creatures and 2 of them are tapped. He attacks, and he sees 6 creatures, so I get 6 tokens. 2 of them are going to get through because they can't be blocked, because 2 of the 6 creatures are tapped. And at the end of the turn, so if I attack with him, and I get another attack step, say Anzac or Aggravated Assault. So when he attacks again, he triggers again, so I get more kitty cats. And then if I can get a 3rd combat step, he'll trigger again, and I'll get even more kitty cats. Remove the tokens from the game at the end of the turn. Now, it'd be nicer if it said sacrifice the tokens at the end of the turn, but it does not. They simply get exiled. So that doesn't quite work with Korvold, but getting double the kitty cats for attacking twice, that sounds kind of nice. I like that. Nadir's Nightblade. So, as with Hellrider, I am not sure why. If you can hear the cat meow, I know sometimes he'll go by the front door and he'll smell like a little bitch. He does meow pathetically like a little bitch, and we don't know why. Emma?
No, Emma's playing homework.
Okay. So my daughter's doing her homework, so he'll just meow like a little bitch. Okay, my wife is going to play with him. So Nadir's Nightblade. I'm not sure if she really has a place in this deck, because I don't have a heavy token theme, I don't have a heavy sacrifice of tokens theme. I don't have that. So I don't know if her slot is justified. 2 and a black for a 1/3. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life. So without that way of generating that many treasure tokens, I mean, you saw Reaver Cleaver. She'd be good with the Nikata Warpride if I get multiple attacks. But I don't have Phyrexian Altar, Ashton's Altar. I'm thinking maybe I should put a Goblin Bombardment in here, but I don't really have that many token generating effects. Not really. So I'm not sure if she is going to be that valuable if I'm not generating that many tokens that will be leaving the battlefield. But I'm going to experiment. Like I said, this is the first iteration of the deck, and I want to see how things work. So Ravenous Squirrel. You might wonder why he's in the deck. He's here So because he comes down early, and I can make him bigger. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact or creature, he gets a +1/+1 encounter. So even if I sacrifice something completely unrelated to his abilities, he still gets bigger. And I can sacrifice an artifact creature for one black, 1 green, gain a life and draw a card. So he will save things from getting exiled. Oh, you're going to exile that guy with Swords and Plowshares? Fuck off. I'll just sacrifice him, get a life, and make this guy bigger. Screw you. So, with all the creatures that cost 5 or 6, I need some cheaper creatures to defend me for a little while. And I think he'll be good. There he is. Suck a Triad Builder. Sacrifice him, go find a basic land, put in play tapped. Yeah, then shuffle. Savage Ventmaw. So Savage Ventmaw and Aggravated Assault are best friends. Savage Ventmaw, 4... Come here, you son of a... Quit sliding. I'm trying to hold them so my hand doesn't create shadows. There we go. Okay, Savage Ventmaw. 4 green-red, 4/4 flyer. Whenever he attacks, it attacks. Whenever the son of a bitch attacks, add triple red, triple green to your mana pool. Until end of turn, you don't lose it as steps and phases end. So, during my combat, I attack with Savage Ventmaw. I get triple red, triple green. I can run that through Aggravated Assault because it costs 3 red, and I would still have 1 mana left over, either red or green, whatever I choose. Untap all creatures you control. After this phase, you get an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. Play this ability the only time you can play sorcery. So the way it works. Aggravated Assault is in play, 2 and a red. I attack with Savage Ventmaw. After that combat has concluded, whether or not Savage Ventmaw is still alive, I have this mana. So during my second main phase, I can spend it to untap all creatures I control. I get an additional combat phase, and then following that, a third main phase. If Savage Ventmaw does not die during that first or second attack, I will get more mana to pump through Aggravated Assault on that third main phase. That's the idea. Which leads me to think what I need to do in this deck, what I need to make room for, is Doubt the Embrace. Doubt the Embrace is a black enchantment, 2 and a black, double black, target creature gains shadow until end of turn. So if I give the Ventmaw shadow, it cannot be blocked. Therefore, it will get through. It will not die unless there's some other combat tricks, unless somebody bolts it. Well, it had to be a big bolt. Soul Fire, Soul Seer. If somebody hits with Soul Seer or swords or some shit like that. But yeah, I should put Doubt the Embrace in this deck. Anyway, that's one of the main combos. One of the main things I'm looking at getting out. Ventmaw and Aggravated Assault. Okay, Solemn Simulacrum, yeah, when he comes to play, go find a basic land, put in play tap, when he dies, draw a card. Everybody knows. Wood Elves, when they come into play, go find a forest card, put that card into play. Could be a shock land, could be the Zeotor's Proving Grounds, if there was one that I liked, but there's not, so there's not going to be. Urabrask the Hidden. This deck will have 2 ways of gaining haste. Urabrask is 1, Sarkhan Vol is another. Sarkhan Vol is on order. I did not have an extra copy, and I found out that the cute little chibi anime Sarkhan Vol, it's only 100 crowns for a foil version. So I thought, 100 crowns? Okay, I can pay that. So this deck will have Sarkhan Vol. I was thinking of running the Immortal Sun, but if I'm going to have Sarkhan Vol, he'll be the only planeswalker in the deck, meaning I don't really want to run Immortal Sun after all. Anyway, 3 red, 4/4. Your creatures get haste, your opponent's creatures come to play tapped. He works pretty good. And this is another nod to my tendency to, hey, if I'm playing black, I need to have some tricky graveyard effects. So Whisper, 3 and a black for a 2/2 human cleric. Sacrifice 2 creatures, return target creature card from graveyard to the battlefield. So during combat, I can do some combat tricks. Especially if I can figure out ways of untapping him. Is there a card when you deal... So Nature's Will, when your creatures hit somebody else, when any creature hits somebody else in combat, untap all your lands. Is there one that the Copperhorn Scout? I could play Copperhorn Scout when she attacks, untap... Well, actually, no, fuck it. Aggravated Assault. Untap all your creatures. Aggravated Assault doesn't care if they were attacking or not. It just says untap all your goddamn creatures. So I could untap Whisper, and I can do some tricks with him during the next combat phases. Nice. I'm glad you guys told me about that. World Shaper. 3 and a green for a 3/3 Merfolk Shaman. Whenever he attacks, you may put the top 3 cards of the library in the graveyard. You don't have to. When he dies, when he croaks, put all land cards from graveyard onto the battlefield. Do you remember the Zern Orb from about, 60 minutes ago? 50 minutes ago? So, one of the ideas I have is, so Zern Orb. Let's say I've got 8 lands. I sacrifice them all, and I gain 16 life. He gets 8 counters because I sacrificed 8 lands and I draw 8 cards. And that's looking pretty good. And then this guy, when Korvold attacks, I sacrifice him and I get all my lands back. Yeah, they come into play tapped, but if I have Nature's Will, when one of my creatures connects, I'll get to untap all of them. Are you starting to see why this is not a bracket 1 deck? I mean, if it works halfway as good as I think it will, it should be pretty brutal. Unless I play against a fucking blue control deck, then I'm just dead. Anyway, Zetar's Envoy, 1 black, green, red, 5/4 trample. Whenever he deals combat damage to a player, look at the top card of your library. I could play a land to the top of my library or cast a spell with mana value less than or equal to the damage dealt with him without paying its mana cost. In any case, if I don't play the land or cast a spell, I put the card in my hand. Which, again, leads me to believe I should put Doubt the Embrace in the deck, because if he deals 5 damage, then there's a lot of things in the deck that cost 5 or less. I can just play them for free. Okay, now we're getting to the top of the mana curve. 5 green green for 4/6 Reaching Phyrexian Horror. Beginning of every combat, double the power and toughness of each creature controlled until end of turn. And then he's got this, the green green, sacrifice to other creatures, he gets an indestructible counter. Beginning of each combat. So if I get multiple combats, in that example before, Savage Ventmaw, Aggravated Assault, attack, I get another combat, their power toughness double again. So this guy alone, the first combat, he's an 8/12. The next combat, he's a 16/24. And if I get a third it just keeps going from there. And there we are with the Aggravated Assault again. Okay, Burgeoning. I explained the deal with Burgeoning and Thawing Glaciers. They work really well together. Comes down first turn. And the cat's crying like a little bitch. Defense of the Heart. Because I have these 2 creature combos, I'm putting Defense of the Heart. Defense of the Heart was correctly cited on Moxfield as a tutor. So the deck has 3 tutors. Defense of the Heart, Fiend Artisan, and Worldly Tutor. So Defense of the Heart, 3 and green. During upkeep, if one of your opponents, just one, controls 3 or more creatures, sack it, go find 2 creature cards and put them into play, and then shuffle. So I don't really have any way of getting it other than Eternal Witness. This is a 1 use. I don't really have a way of getting it back. Dictate of Erebos. Whenever a creature control dies, each opponent sacrifices a creature. It's flashy, but I don't know if I need it. I don't know if I really want it. Because the goal of the deck, the idea of the deck is play creatures and smash face, not to do a lot of tricks. But it is nice to have the tricks available. Exploration, so I can play an additional land each turn. If I'm going to be drawing cards, some of those cards will be lands. And lands are much better in play than they are choking up your hand. Wouldn't you agree? Max! What is it, Max? Max, I'm almost done. Growing Rights of Itlamok. I didn't put Cradle in this deck. I don't have an extra one. I don't really think it needs it, but I would like to have the option of having a pseudo Cradle. 200 green. When it comes to play, look top for cards in your library. You may review a creature card from among them, put it in your hand. The rest go in the bottom in any order. And then at my end step, which is nice that it's not my upkeep, on my end step, if I have 4 more creatures, I can flip it over and I get Guy's Cradle. And all but name. Cradle of the Sun, but still a Cradle. So I've got that. There's Nature's Will, we discussed that. Douthie Slayer is... I really should put Douthie Embrace in this deck. And Voyaging Cedar. Okay, so we need to make room for those. Sneak Attack. Sneak Attack, and the reason this is not in a sleeve is I ordered the anime version of Sneak Attack. This is actually the one in Kenrith. I just put it in here to show you because this is another card that's kind of key to the deck. So 3 in a red, 1 red. Choose a creature card from your hand, throw it into play. It has haste. At the end of the turn, sacrifice the creature. So if I get this in play, and Hirobi is out, whatever non-human creatures would be sacrificed in the turn will come back. If one of those creatures is a Savage Ventmaw, and I've got Aggravated Assault in play, I'm going to town. I've got Whisper Blood Liturgist. So this is kind of a key card that I will want to get out and want to start employing because I want to start smashing face. And when I've got things like Buckins O'Prandrel that cost 7, paying 1 red for his ass seems a lot better idea than paying 7. Words of Wilding. So if I don't want to draw cards with Korvold, instead of drawing cards, I can create bears. There was an infinite combo I had before with Words of Wilding. I'm not going to explain it here because I don't have that combo in this deck. So there's not much point in me going over it. But it was an infinite kill combo. It required 3 or 4 cards. I can't remember exactly. And I'm just doing it here. So if I get into a situation where I'm sacrificing a number of things, and Korvold is drawing me cards, but I need creatures, I can just get 2/2 bears instead of those cards. Assassin's Trophy, destroy target opponent controls. They can go look for a basic land, put into play if they want. Death Denied. So I've got Sneak Attack in here. If I sneak attack a bunch of creatures, they're going to die, and I'm going to want to get them back so I can sneak them into play again and smash more face. Smashing face in this deck is good. So I've got Death Denied. Instantly, black, X, return X target creature cards from graveyard to your hand. Just snatch them out of the graveyard. Put those motherfuckers back to work. Heroic Intervention. Permanent controlling and hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Took me a long time to get this version. I appreciate that they finally reprinted it with different art. The Ajani art is okay, but if I have a card, if I have, say, 4 copies of a card in 4 different decks, I start wanting them to have different art so they don't feel the same. Tower defense. 1 in a green, creature control, get +0/+5 and reach until end of turn. You remember Heavy Demon, you remember Kagamaru, First to Suffer. This guy takes the sting out of those. So no matter how small my creatures are, if I sacrifice Havoc Demon and in response cast Tower Defense, well, my creatures are staying. My opponent's creatures are not. Worldly Tutor, go find a creature card. I don't know if I need this. I really don't. Maybe I should take this out for Vampiric Tutor because there are so many key enchantments and I don't have any ways of getting them. Kenny has a Vampiric Tutor. Kenny probably doesn't need it. I can give him Limdol's Vault back. Or I could just run a Demonic Tutor. I've got 2 copies of Demonic Tutor I'm not doing anything with. I've got a 4 and black border. I've got a Mystic Archive version. Yeah, I'll replace this with Demonic Tutor, I think. Living Death. Everybody exiles a creature cards from their graveyard, then sacrifice all creatures he or she controls, and put all creatures he or she exiled this way onto the battlefield. So basically, you swap all your dead creatures for all your live creatures. Sometimes that'll really work out for me. Sometimes I'll be playing against another Muldrotha deck or a Mimeoplasm deck, and I won't want to cast this. Hell no, not until I fucking Bajuka Bog that graveyard. And finally, Temptation de la Découverte. Tempt with Discovery, one of my favorite cards. I love it. Oh, I love it. I love watching I cast Tempt with Discovery. I'm going to go get a land. Would anybody else like a land too? Anyone? You look like you're kind of... Yes, I need to go get a land. Don't do it. Don't. He's going to get some bullshit. He'll fucking get Urborg and Cabal Coffers or some bullshit. And then the 4th guy's like, I don't know. Seems like a good deal, but I can see where it could go wrong for me. So if the first guy, who's kind of mana screwed, he says, oh, okay, screw it, I'm going to do it. And I get 2 lands. Typically, one of the other 2 lads will say to hell with it. If I get 3 bullshit lands instead of just 2, there's not that much difference. I'm already getting 2 bullshit lands. And at that point, in many cases, the 4th guy will break. So for 4 mana, I will get 4 lands and put them into play. 4 lands of my choice. Of course, to be honest, once we go beyond 3, then it's not as interesting. I mean, if it's 2, it's going to be Cabal Coffers and Urborg if neither of those are in play. If it's 3, it's going to be Cabal Coffers, Urborg, and Yavimaya Hollow. If it's 4, I guess I'll get Vora, But odds are, by the time I cast Tempt with Discovery, I'll have at least one of those cards in play anyway. But I still like doing it.